Greetings, I'm Gloria, a 34-year-old woman. These recent months have been tough, and I'm in the process of relearning many things. The situation I'm in is due to my husband, Jonathan, but fortunately, someone kind intervened to spare me more pain. Let me introduce you to the key characters in this story. First up is my younger sister, Catherine. She's 5 years younger, a beautiful woman. Growing up, we had our struggles. I was the nerdy type, and she was a popular diva. There was a lot of teasing and seemingly unwarranted jealousy from her. Mom tried to ease tensions, but when I left for college, our communication dwindled. It improved a bit after I graduated, but we were never extremely close. That was the best our relationship could be, and I was fine with that. Now onto my ex-husband, Jonathan. We met through work and quickly hit it off. After 5 years of dating, we decided to tie the knot. We worked hard to buy our first house, although the mortgage and deed were in my name since I earned more. After 3 years of marriage, Jonathan brought up the idea of having children. He asked me, "Honey, I've been pondering something and I want you to consider it with an open mind. What do you think about starting a family of our own?" Hey Jonathan, you're aware of my thoughts on this matter. I know we've got the funds, but imagine having a couple of little ones running around. It sounds adorable, right? However, looking after kids involves a significant amount of effort and responsibility. We take pride in being diligent and reliable individuals. Come on, allow me some time to ponder this, all right? I assure you, I'll do everything in my power to assist in caring for them. Just keep that in mind. Although I wasn't initially enthusiastic about having children, I eventually gave in because Jonathan kept bringing it up. Our firstborn, a son, came along, and 5 years later, our daughter joined the family. Initially, Jonathan was supportive, but circumstances shifted. I found myself taking on all the responsibilities at home, including caring for the kids. Following the birth of our first child, Jonathan urged me to quit my job due to his promotion, leading to a higher income. I hesitated initially, but eventually embraced my altered lifestyle. To ward off monotony, I began organizing dinners, frequently inviting my mom, sister, and mother-in-law Brenda when she visited. Despite the difficulties, I discovered solace in my fresh start, enjoying meaningful moments with my family. Jonathan and I were doing well, although I went through some tough times after delivering our second child, nearly facing a life-threatening situation. I believed everything was fine, but I was mistaken. While tidying up the house, I came across underwear that didn't belong to me. My heart dropped, and the lingering question in my thoughts was whether I fell short of being sufficient for him. I noticed a shift in how I acted after our second child was born. It's been more than a year now, and I still feel the lasting impact of giving birth. Even though I've been going to therapy and making gradual progress, it doesn't seem like it's sufficient. The surprise hit me when I found out that Jonathan, my husband, was being unfaithful. Fueled by feelings of anger and betrayal, I wanted to understand. So I initially sent Jonathan a photo of some discovered underwear, asking for an explanation. Feeling dissatisfied, I ventured into his laptop, logging into his social media accounts and examining his chats. At first, I couldn't find any signs of unfaithfulness, which left me even more puzzled. Determined, I went through each chat meticulously, though I questioned the rightness of my actions since I knew everyone in his contacts. It was during this thorough search that I stumbled upon something unsettling. My sister's contact ID was consistently present. Initially brushing it off, I eventually chose to explore their conversations. To my dismay, the chats were filled with intimate photos, declarations of love, and plans for Jonathan to end our relationship. The shock hit me hard. I couldn't believe my sister was part of such a terrible betrayal. Despite our rocky relationship in the past, this betrayal took things to a whole new level. My initial reaction was intense disgust, leading to an involuntary bout of vomiting. In my second attempt to make sense of it all, I tried calling Jonathan, but he remained unresponsive. Frustrated, I decided to dial my sister. "What's going on?" I asked, holding back my anger. "Don't give me a casual, 'Hey, what's up? What's bothering you?'" she replied nonchalantly. "I might not know exactly what's bothering me, but I do know that I'm staring at a pair of your panties in my bedroom right now," I said, a mix of disbelief and anger in my tone. Have you been spending time with Jonathan recently?" "Oh yeah, for a while now." "Why? Come on, everyone's talking about how you've become a bit uninteresting, so you decided to be with my husband. Didn't even the fact that I'm your sister make you think twice? Look into my eyes. I was actually doing you a favor. I was diverting Jonathan's attention away so you could focus on looking after your kids. Are you thinking straight? That's the most senseless thing I've ever heard. Listen, we didn't intend for it to get this out of hand. Okay, I only did it because he kept making advances at me, and, well, he's a nice guy. All right, I admit it, but he was my husband. Why would you actively contribute to tearing our family apart? I only want what's right for Jonathan. If I'm the right person for him, then that's fine. You behaved horribly." I hung up the call right after that. I couldn't believe her nerve. I just stayed in bed and cried for a while. I never thought my life would reach that point. At some point, my youngest child woke up and cried for food, so I focused on taking care of her. I felt like an empty shell as I continued with the rest of my day. I couldn't let my kids sense that something was seriously wrong. It wasn't something for them to be concerned about. I picked up my older kids from school and prepared dinner for the four of us. The children kept asking about their dad, and I had no comforting response. Resorting to a fib, I informed them he was working late. As the clock neared 12 at night, concern replaced my initial anger. Jonathan had not returned home yet. Repeated calls to him yielded no response, and contacting my sister also proved futile. Exhausted and emotionally drained, I eventually retired to bed. I clung to the desperate hope that upon waking, the events of the day would prove to be just a dreadful nightmare. Unfortunately, the following morning only unfolded with further distress. Upon waking up, a strange feeling gripped me as I sensed an oddity in the room. Scanning the surroundings, it dawned on me that not a single item of Jonathan's remained. Rushing through cabinets and drawers, all traces of his clothes and personal items had vanished. A thorough search of the entire house revealed that almost everything belonging to Jonathan had disappeared, leaving behind only a handful of unimportant things. It was bewildering. Jonathan had departed without any attempt to communicate, behaving like a coward. Feeling confused, I realized my main focus was looking after my kids. I woke them up, gave them a bath, and fed them. After taking my eldest to school, I went to my mom's place with the youngest. My mom could tell something was bothering me. I appeared distant. My thoughts were filled with the challenge of raising 3 kids by myself. Eventually, I faced the truth and knew I had to share the news with my mother about my sister and husband. Overwhelmed, my mom couldn't contain her emotions and asked me what was going on. I had a hard time putting it into words, but I told my mom. I found out that Jonathan was being unfaithful. I noticed a pair of underwear that wasn't mine and messaged him, but he just left without replying. Surprised, my mom asked if I tried to stop him. I explained that I didn't even know when he came back. I fell asleep around midnight, and when I woke up, he had already left. My mom showed understanding, and as we talked more, she inquired if I knew who Jonathan had cheated on me with. Reluctantly, I confessed that I went through his belongings to find out. I wouldn't normally put up with such behavior, but this situation is one of a kind. So who is this person, Mayor? Seriously, are you for real? Yes, my husband has been unfaithful with my own sister. I confronted her and she was unbothered. She claimed they were in love and she thought she was the right match for him, so she planned to continue their relationship. What on earth are you telling me? Oh my God, what has Catherine done? I don't even know how I'll get through this. I have 3 kids to care for and I need to find a job. Hey, why not take a break while I process what you shared with me? I'm here to assist you, okay? Yeah, all right. Thanks, Mom. I was emotionally overwhelmed by everything that had happened, so it felt somewhat easier to open up to my mom about it all. I ended up taking a nap while my mom looked after my youngest. When I woke up, I heard my baby crying and my mom raising her voice. I quickly went to comfort my child and found my mom on the phone. She seemed upset. After hanging up, she looked surprised to see me there. She apologized for the noise without going into details, but I could tell she had given someone a piece of her mind, probably the mayor. In the following days, Mom decided to stay with us to make things simpler with just 1 person moving in instead of 4. Catherine continuously tried to reach her mom, but she requested me to block Catherine. It felt comforting to have someone acknowledge my feelings during a time when I felt very isolated. Through some friends we shared, I learned that Jonathan and Catherine had tied the knot. They contacted me, expressing concern and confusion. I had to awkwardly clarify the situation for them, but fortunately, they were all supportive. They chose to block both Jonathan and Catherine and decided not to associate with them. Based on my findings, they both tied the knot the day after Jonathan left the kids and me. Learning about that hurt a lot, but I guess I shouldn't have been surprised by their actions. When I shared this with my mom, she was unusually angry. Let me tell you, my mom is usually calm and it takes a lot to provoke her. So seeing her so upset with my sister was unexpected. I was also fortunate to have my mom's financial support. She wasn't obligated to assist me, but she genuinely did her best for the 4 of us. She even helped me secure a couple of job interviews. I wanted to assist the family since Jonathan wasn't there to prevent me. Managing the kids was doable, but when they asked about Jonathan, it was hard to stay composed. Despite the difficulties, we got through a week. Later, a letter came from Jonathan, but I didn't care to read it. I thought it might be an apology, so I decided to ignore it. I was finished with him, and a week was too much time to try to fix things, especially after he left the family without saying a word. In response, I decided on what seemed like the best choice. I decided to burn the letter. However, my curiosity persisted afterward. At times, I found myself wishing I had read it before getting rid of it. Eventually, I reminded myself that the contents of the letter couldn't change how I saw him and what he had done, so I left it as it was. The next day, my mom and I organized a trip to the fair with the kids. It was a refreshing change, and we had a fantastic time in the lively atmosphere. It marked the first time in a while that I truly enjoyed myself and laughed. Later that evening, my mom and I unwound with a bottle of wine, and I shared with her the details of the letter. Yesterday, I received another letter, sparking my mom's curiosity. It was from Jonathan. "What did he write?" she asked. "I'm not sure," I admitted. "Why not? Did you open it?" "No, I didn't want to deal with his words, so I decided to burn the letter." "Gloria, what if it was official divorce papers?" "The envelope didn't look legal. I'm certain it wasn't." "Well, if you say so, what do you think he wanted?" "I'm not sure. Maybe a half-hearted apology or a request to return the last few things." "I trust he might do that. But how do you feel about everything at the moment?" Today was truly positive. "It's challenging, especially when the kids inquire about their dad." "What should I tell them?" "I suppose it improves a little each day, though not significantly. As long as there's progress, I'll be here to support you. Just to inform you, I'm cutting ties with your sister. Everything I own will go to you and the kids." "Oh, Mom, that means a great deal, but are you certain?" "She's still your daughter. I understand you and she had disagreements while growing up, but disowning her now without remorse is something I find difficult to forgive. I taught you both to be better." Unfortunately, she showed no concern, and as a result, she is no longer considered my daughter. While I would have been disappointed if Mom had reconsidered when I double-checked, I understood that Catherine was still her child. I could never fathom treating my children like that. It only deepened my appreciation for someone who is truly supportive. After 5 days, a knock interrupted my routine. It puzzled me since I hadn't anticipated any visitors, and aside from Mom being at work, our home seldom hosted anyone. Approaching the door cautiously, I discovered 3 men dressed in black suits. Inquiring about their identity, they revealed themselves as lawyers and conveyed that they had something for me. Handing over a note along with a $500,000 check, my jaw fell open in disbelief. Attempting to protest that it must be an error, they reassured me it wasn't and urged me to peruse the note. The opening lines read, "Thank you for saving me." As I continued reading, I realized the generous gift was from my mother-in-law. Brenda wrote in her letter that she arrived in town 5 days ago to see us, but no one was home when she came by. She called Jonathan, and he tried to act like he was entering the house, but his keys didn't work. Brenda sensed something was wrong and questioned Jonathan, who eventually confessed to his odd behavior. Upset by his actions, she detailed in the letter that she had designated all her inheritance for me and her grandchildren, expressing gratitude for preventing her from making misguided choices. Subsequently, lawyers informed me that Brenda had succumbed to a terminal illness the day before. She wished for me to possess the funds, ensuring the well-being of her daughter-in-law and grandchildren. Brenda had consistently stood up for what was just, and despite Jonathan's fear of her, he found solace in her presence. A few days afterward, Jonathan phoned me, questioning why I wasn't at home that day. Perplexed, I inquired when he had made the request. Jonathan mentioned a letter he had dispatched, urging me to act as if we were our former selves during his mother's visit. I then grasped that I never got the letter because he had deliberately destroyed it. "I didn't get a chance to read it before you took it from me. My mom wanted to make my life easier by leaving me an inheritance, but you took it away because you're a selfish person with a lot of money. It's really sad, especially since you left your family and only got in touch when it was about the inheritance. Dear can't be stopped. I did what was best for myself, and your mom did what was right for us. Please don't contact me or the kids again. Bye-bye." After that, things happened quickly. I gave Jonathan the divorce papers and got full custody of the kids. Jonathan attempted to contest the inheritance, but Brenda confirmed that I was the rightful receiver, and Jonathan's attempts were not successful. Both Jonathan and Catherine tried to convince and emotionally persuade me to split the inheritance, but I stayed strong and said no. Life has become easier since we got the money. I saved a big chunk of money for my kids' college funds and wisely invested some more. My mom retired and I've started working again. The kids have accepted that their dad won't be coming back, and when they're older, I intend to share all the details with them. Though I'm still dealing with the pain, I realize the only way to go from here is up.